Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 381st episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the Taylor doesn't have to head nod anymore, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by the man I just mentioned.
I am Taylor the Field.
I am Kirklin, missing the head nods, Patzer.
I am the one who's not canceled, Jessica.
Yeah. Gotta check in the video version for that. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good old fashioned newscast. We didn't do one last week. We had the doubleheader of Snyder Cut and Falcon Winter Soldier. I don't know if we'll do one next week because hopefully we find a way to watch Godzilla versus Kong. Taylor, you're getting a little worried, you know?
I was panicking at the office today. My boss is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Nope, not doing good today."
Good. Taylor, where can they find us on the interwebs?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar, GeekVerse Podcast. GeekVerse.ca specifically is our website and our home base. GeekVerse Cast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook. Make sure you check us out on our Facebook because, like Travis was just saying about Godzilla, we have our Godzilla community-based fan base poll popping off right now, and it is the last match of round 2. I believe it is Behemoth from Godzilla King of the Monsters versus Fire Rodan, also from King of the Monsters. Once that ends, we go into I personally, these are my favorites whenever the polls do this. It is the Civil War round. So we're going to have 5 contenders facing off, and it's locked in on the one side. It's basically 3 Godzillas versus 2 King Ghidorahs. So it's just going to be a whole smorgasbord of Godzilla. Again, I'm predicting it's going to be like all Godzillas, all Kongs on one side. It's going to be crazy.
So we literally have, you were saying 3 Godzillas and 3 Kongs left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we have the current ones, the 2, I guess what is the other Godzilla? What's the middle one for Godzilla?
They're 90s and then Godzilla 2019.
So 90s from like the Matthew Broderick movie?
No, that's the Zilla, who lost very early on because fans don't like that one.
No, that's not good. So to you, because I have no fucking clue. This is your world. Do you have any predictions going into who's going to take it all?
Well, this is the hard thing because if I feel like Godzilla 2019 is definitely going to beat out the rest, and then you have Kong. I know it's going to be Godzilla versus Kong, like Kong 2019, I think as well. So it's going to be those 2 head honchos. I don't know who's going to take it. I mean, there's definitely a lot of fans on either side. I know who you're voting for.
Oh, Kong all the way, baby. It's monkey time, you know? So, but what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to win this poll? Because by the movie, it'll be done, right? The poll will be over.
Yeah, actually it will be. Yeah, it's getting close.
Yeah.
I'm a Godzilla. Godzilla all the way. I think it's going to take it.
But which one?
Yeah.
Probably the newest one. What is that? 2016, 2017? When did he first appear?
Right?
2014.
The one it is the 2014 one. The one up to bat is the one in the 2019 movie.
That makes me think Kirklin has not watched the movie we're retroing tomorrow.
He probably hasn't. Since he didn't even recognize the scene, he guessed the wrong movie when you were watching it, Travis.
He did message me and try and save face and be like, "Oh, I was talking. That's the one I was.
That's the one I
meant.
meant. Yeah, classic.
We don't have proof of that." And Jessica, what about you? Because you asked which Zilla, but do you have any predictions here?
I would.
She's looking up stats right now of the characters.
Yeah, who's bigger?
I'm looking at it right now, like with the poll where it's sitting right now. And as much as I would love to say that this Hydra-looking mofo is going to go to the end, it's going to be Godzilla versus Kong. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's really the only option for a Zilla versus Kong poll. But I would guess that the newest Zilla, same as Kirk.
Well, we'll see. So check out the Facebook page. As always, you can go down below and find all our links for Patreon, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Look at
that was clean, Travis. So clean.
Oh, yeah. You can find all our links for early exclusive episodes, ad-free as well. Thank you, everyone, last week. I guess I should have opened up with this. Last week was our biggest day ever as far as the podcast goes, which is great because we had Endgame a few years ago, and then it was like a long drought because COVID, everything like that. And then when we had the Wonder Woman and Soul weekend, that broke the record. And then already 3 months later, you've broken again. So within 3 months, it's been broken twice. So a big thank you to listening to the Falcon Winter Soldier review. Thank you to listen to Just League One, both doing really great numbers for us. So we appreciate always the support because there's hundreds of podcasts to listen to, and the fact that you crazy people still join us means the world. So thank you. As always, Falcon Winter Soldier will be going every week, so we'll be back tomorrow live late night. I'm excited to see what's going on with the fake Captain America and stuff like that. But Spotify, Apple Podcasts, go subscribe there. If you want to watch the video version or tune in live, go to YouTube. Twitch, I'm not sure if you guys, I know there might be a weekly, there will be probably a stream this weekend, but you guys probably haven't decided on the game yet, eh?
Oh, we have.
Oh, okay. So you pitch it. If you have the day and time or like a ballpark, let me know. But that's why Twitter and Facebook, subscribe or follow, because we'll let you know when it's officially happening. But unless you're Kirklin, who says, Taylor, you ready to go? 5 minutes before noon, and Taylor had no idea.
Well, it's always a little rocky in the first go ahead. But what do we got in store, Kirklin?
We're going to be playing some Rocket League on Sunday, so make sure to tune in for that. It's going to be a fun time. Not sure if we're going to do it the whole time or if we're going to mix some other game in there, but that is going to be the headlining.
Well, there you go. And yeah, go subscribe over there. Throw us a sub. You never know. Me and Dylan did an impromptu Ghost of Tsushima stream because we went to go do Avengers, and I had a long update to do. So we didn't do Avengers, but we did Ghost of Tsushima.
I tuned in for Avengers. And like, what are these samurais doing on the stream?
Next week is the plan. But yeah, that was still lots of fun. So yeah, go over there. That's everything we're doing right now. And yeah, we're going to talk about some news. We got some good topics to talk about today. But first, I just wanted to, because it's newscast and these are always a bit lighter and whatnot, I wanted to rant a little bit about Scotiabank because fuck, I hate Scotiabank. So I've been with Scotiabank since I have graduated. So just been with them for about 2 years now. And the thing is, I was ready to move forward, ready to like switch banks. And also RBC had this thing where it's like, if you switched over, you either got the iPad or $300. I got the $300. So I'm just going to buy comic books with it. Great. Extra money. Great. Works for me. Scotia like tried their damnedest not to let me cancel, and I think for the fact like they actually made me like set up my appointment after the next monthly fee to do it. So I get on the phone with I send emails. They say, hey, you need anything, send emails. I send 2 emails, and then I send a third to like the Kelowna branch leader. Never heard anything back. I phone, you can't cancel over the phone. So it's like, okay. And then you got to set up a meeting. It's like, okay, fine. I set up a meeting. I had to leave work early today. So I literally had to lose money to cancel my fucking account because they close at 3. I only work till 3 sometimes on certain days when they're open. So it's like, that doesn't work. So they're closed there. So next time I have the lunch, or I got to do that. So I had to take off early, had to ruin my lunch, stuff like that. I go there, and this was a few days ago. I got an email from this guy, Brandon. Not going to say his last name. That could be anybody, but Brandon. And he's like, oh, I got to cancel your appointment because you don't need to make an appointment to cancel your account. And I didn't respond. I just went, okay, great. But that's what they told me on the phone. And then when I got there, I'm at the teller and I'm talking to this lady, and then there's a lady beside her, and she goes, oh, I meant to phone you today because I was going to see if we could do this over the phone. And I was so pissed because like how I started this whole race was just to try to cancel over the phone, and it didn't happen. And here we are. So I was so salty. I was just sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me? And like, this is why I'm done with Scotiabank. So that's my story for today.
You're not going to get any more Steam points.
You still get Steam points. You still got to use your cards. But like, what am I using the Steam points right now? I've been 1,000. I've had like 15
movies.
Yeah, I guess. But like, I got Netflix, I got HBO Max, I got Disney Plus, I got Star. It's like I don't need to buy movies anymore. They're all just there. It's like.
When I was 19 and could first apply for a credit card, I got a Scotiabank Visa strictly for that, for the Steam points. And same thing, I tried to cancel it. They wouldn't let me cancel it. I tried to increase my limit so it was usable, like not just a shitty entry visa. They wouldn't do that. So I still to this day have this visa that I haven't used in like 4 years that's not canceled because they won't cancel it and they won't just cut it off. And it just sits in my wallet as a backup wallet card in case one day I need a low amount of something.
You might as well just max it since they won't cancel it.
Oh yeah, that's a good lifestyle choice. I may as well just max it.
YOLO.
No. Oh, and what was and this is why I really hate them too. A few months ago, actually I guess it was a year ago, but when I was working doing landscaping one time, like there's these 2 jobs back together that I got lots of money. And then I went in and it was like rent's coming up. So I'm like, I'm going to cash my check so then I can pay for my rent. First time I did it, no problem whatsoever. Putting the money, that was great. And then I get this old bitch. I'm sorry for the language, but she just like hated my guts or hated her job. I don't know what the deal was, but she's like, you can't do that. You can't cash this check. When I literally did this 2 weeks ago, I cashed the same check. No, not on this account. You can't. And I went, look at my account. And she's like, I think you're mistaken. And then 2 minutes. Oh, you're right. They did cash that check. I go, well, yeah. And oh man, Scotia's.
Did she throw out your Tupperware as well?
No, she was there today though. I was wishing I was going to get her to cancel, but I didn't. So that was a sad story. So one other yeah, in COVID, just put them up. The one other thing I want to throw too, of course, is we got the podcast network. 7 days a week, 9 shows, lots of stuff popping up there. Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Power Rangers, comic books, World's Finest Triple A, a bunch of stuff. But just a big quick announcement that I have left Marvel Alliance due to my job because Chris and pretty much 95% of the podcast network is Eastern, and with the new job, the times are kind of match up. There's either when I get home, they'll already be late, or I'll be getting home, like I'll be off right when they're starting, and just it'd be too much. And the good thing was, for months we've been talking to someone, and he's been on this network before. You can check out the trial, stuff like that. Brent Clark, you can go follow him on Twitter. He is my replacement, so I'll be there once a month. I'm still gonna make my time. If I have free times or off, I'm gonna maybe be more, but once a month is my goal. And we did some fun auditions thing. Now, Taylor, do you have this clip ready? Because I don't know if Kirklin and Jessica have watched it, but your clip was like, because to set this up, and this is like to, this is what I love on GeekVerse, to break kayfabe. I know someone's like, where's the news? I'll put it, the time codes down. Calm down. You just skip to Black Widow, okay? Calm
this
down.
is news, people. Come on.
This is news. We are the news. No, so I told everybody, like, hey, do a fake audition, podcast network, a few other people, and here's like a little idea. Now, and I had said, Taylor, like, do a fake audition and then talk about how you love Ghost Rider. I didn't get that at all. I didn't get when he did, why did your brain jump to actually auditioning with movie roles? I thought auditioning for a podcast. So how did your brain jump to that?
Your description, I don't remember if you said talk about Ghost Rider, because you were it seemed like cut scenes or something. I don't know. But initially my first thought, jumped to auditioning by doing reenacting scenes. I always thought, if I was to apply for a role, and most that would be it, just to show my true quality.
If you have the video pulled up, we're gonna watch it. I'll put it in for the audio listeners after. We can do the menu where it shows 4 of us and then the video. But yeah, bring that up because
does it play automatically or
it will? Yeah, I think the second you hit show, it'll play automatically. So you just gotta hit add it to the stream and then we're good to go.
Okay.
How many tickers do we have now? Oh my god, there's so many banners.
A little bit of a learning curve on the new. Oh,
I paused it. It's all good.
Okay. Let's see now. See it because this video brought down the entire fucking Marvel Alliance stream yesterday trying to use my map. So that was great. So let's see how Taylor's computer does.
So everyone can hear the audio. It automatically works for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Well, here we go. Hello, my name is Taylor Field. I am from GeekVerse Podcast, and today I am applying for the position of Marvel Alliance host. I hope you
the name of the
consider
show.
me. And in recognition of this position and this application, I have pieced together a video audition and video application, as some people like to call it, to show my qualifications and my enthusiasm.
Is this how you got your real job?
Everything Marvel. So I hope you.
This is how I got it. My girl, my
I hope you
fiance.
consider me, and I hope you will get back in touch with me, and we can progress further with this job. So thank you very much. Yeah.
When you're trying to hit the word
Yeah.
count on an essay.
The truth is,
Good music.
I am Iron Man. Harry tells me you're quite the science whiz. I'm something of a scientist myself. One of your children, he transformed himself into a snake. And he knows that I love snakes, so I went to pick up the snake to admire it. And he transformed back into himself, and he was like, "Bleh, it's me!" Then he stabbed me. We were 8 at the time. I missed the part where that's my problem. I do. I understood that reference.
Oh god.
You should have gone for the head.
This isn't the worst one coming up. Oh yeah, here we go.
Kerrigan must have told you about that thing. And that thing that killed his men last night? Huh? Yeah? It's that thing. It's inside of me. See, you're a bad man. And this thing, the writer, he feeds on bad men. And he's hungry. He's hungry. He's been in years. And that's why I'm shaking. Because right now, the only thing standing between you and the writer is me. And he's He's scraping at the door. Scraping at the door. Now, if you don't tell me what I want to know, I'm gonna let him out. And when he's done with you, there won't be anything left. Do you understand? Do you understand me?
Oh my gosh. That's some good acting.
Yeah,
Almost overacting.
So almost, yeah. When I got that message from Taylor to see the video, and then the second I'm like, "What is he doing?" When he pulled up the Yu-Gi-Oh card, and he's like, "I am Iron Man." I'm like, "Oh no, he's doing actual auditions." And then I purposely didn't watch it, but like I said, you sound British when you say you're scraping at the door. I know you say that's what he sounds like.
That's exactly how he sounds.
He's scraping at the door. The door. Oh. Poor Madison. I hope you reenact that at the wedding. So, there we go. So, Taylor, you can remove that video now just so we don't accidentally add that to the stream. Let's get to some news. There will be ads. We'll give you a warning when that happens. Let's talk about... I guess we start with the main topic. So we got some streaming numbers for a few things this week as far as Justice League, Falcon Winter Soldier. I think WandaVision was let out a few months ago, but I hadn't seen it. And we hadn't talked about it on the show. And also, they don't have the finale, which is annoying. They only have the debut episode and then Wonder Woman 84. So this is kind of like a big mix-up of things because, so obviously, check out our review. Justice League came out on Thursday. They only have the stream numbers to Monday. Monday, we're going to get in more into it as far as there was thank you very much, Taylor. There was a article that was put out by the Warner Brothers CEO. Now she's not the top tier person, but she's like third in command, and she was pretty much just saying like, okay, Snyder Cut, we're not going to do any more of that and other things. We're going to talk about that, but for some reference is one, and so this is a thing called Stamba TV. It's this thing where it's like it's a third party aggregator of results, so it's not. All these results probably are bigger than what they show here. It's kind of like an estimate of they have some app on smart TVs, and when people access it, it's like the Nissan like TV ratings. It's like an estimate of it. But what this was so they were showing Wonder Woman in the first 3 days was 2.2 million. And what counts as a view is if you click on it and you watch more than 5 minutes. So I feel like that threshold should be a little higher than just 5 minutes to count as a view. But nonetheless, that's what it is. So it's fine. So Wonder Woman was 2.2. What was it? Justice League was 1.8, Falcon was 1.7 for the premiere, and then WandaVision 1.6. Like I said, I really want to see what the WandaVision like finale was once they start talking and everything like that. But as far as this estimates go, how are you guys? Were you surprised anything as far as like with the one? Do you think Wonder Woman was not high enough? Do you think Justice League was higher? Like I personally thought that it's kind of a combination of Justice League did well, I think, and like it's weird because we're in the streaming world, we don't know what well is, but it's like I think only 400,000 away from Wonder Woman isn't that bad, or is that just a sign of like Wonder Woman didn't have as much buzz as it could be? I don't know. Taylor, what did you take from? Like I said, these are just estimates. What about some of these numbers?
Yeah, it's again like the numbers that Wonder Woman had. I mean, I feel like it could have been higher. I really do. And I feel like it's just like a lot of people's lack of excitement because when you have something that gets delayed again, like it's unfortunate, but I think it's truly crazy to see how close Justice League is in terms of that, especially for a movie that came out a long time ago and a movie that's 4 hours long. That says a lot compared to a movie, again, that's like 2 something. And should have been, we're getting ratings through the roof, highly anticipated, everything. Gal Gadot is back. But at the end of the day, she's back. At the end of the day, I mean, this year, my go-to, I guess, is 2020 movie, but the movie that I will go to see Wonder Woman the past 365 days is going to be Justice League Snyder Cut. That's going to be my go-to Wonder Woman because I like it more than Wonder Woman 84, and I feel like the ratings say it all in terms of that. Now, when you talk about the WandaVision ratings, like I'm very excited to see again because you said we don't have them for the final episode.
We don't have them. I even checked today; they just have the premiere. So I don't know why if they haven't thought that was worthy to look up. And then Disney put out this week that Falcon Winter Soldier is their most watched thing ever. Makes sense. They're getting more subscribers. Again, HBO. They don't ever release numbers. They don't because it's very easy to kind of control. But yeah, so 1.6 estimate for WandaVision and 1.7. So I think it's strange because it's weird that like it is like a director's cut or the Snyder's cut or whatever, but it is kind of weird that like Falcon Winter Soldier is kind of almost on par with Justice League. Like it's in this estimate, like only 100,000 off, which shows to me the power of the MCU of like, yeah, these guys didn't beat them, but it's like the fact that they're pretty close shows what they have. And it will be interesting to see, which we'll get into later, like what happens when a Black Widow drops or something like that, you know, like a big movie that's been promoted.
Well, that's something that confused me because I truly thought, again, I knew Mandalorian was us war that I thought WandaVision had surpassed that and was up there. So when like the premiere episode is like, pew, it's like, are you serious? That's definitely not what I was expecting.
Check it again. Check it again.
And what do you think? And this week there was like a lot of controversy, I guess, spread about talking about like the future of DC and stuff like that. And I'll give you just a few bullet points as far as she said they were happy to complete the trilogy of the Snyder movies, which Snyder said bear, but still they said they were happy to get it out there. They don't plan on making, it's weird because they say they don't plan on making more movies in this universe, but then you have like Ezra Miller's Flash movie, which is still connected to this universe. But either way, I think more she meant like Zack Snyder directed movies. They said they're going to do no air cut as of right now. That's a like addition of Suicide. And they said they want to be more, they want to be more having connective tissue and Easter eggs and kind of, you know, you see a character here and maybe they want to try and be Marvel. They want to try and have a connected universe of sorts. And that was kind of the narrative. I think people weren't buying it because these are similar people that came out years ago and said Snyder Cut doesn't exist, it's not happening. So these statements when it's like, okay, sure, you've seen the numbers, but it's like you've only had them for 4 days. Like, and I feel like it's just so funny that it gets a sequel right away. BVS comes out, it's even more divided, gets a sequel right away. Justice League comes out, and majority of people like actually like the Zack Snyder DC movie, and they're like, no, we're not doing any more. So Taylor, do you have any takes as far as any of that? Do you think that because you love a good conspiracy, the conspiracy doesn't want to keep going forward with Snyder, so they just put out this statement to kind of kill the hype right away, which it sounds weird, proven history as far as two sides battling against each other. So
if you ask me, and again, maybe it's because I'm kind of coming off my rocker a little bit from this morning, but I'm not a fan of Warner right now. Like, they're
what
fucking
happened
up
this
no
morning?
good. Remember the whole Kong Godzilla thing. So anyways,
right. You had to fill in the viewers too. He's talking about that they announced in Canada we're only going to get in theaters, and where we are, like theaters don't open. So you just put out like a really weird statement there when it's like, oh, and what happened this morning to me? But okay, there you go. So he's not the fan of Warner Brothers right now.
No, again, like I do love a good conspiracy. On this note, I mean, I don't know what to believe. I really, really don't. Because you have at one point they were pushing all this digital stuff, and then they're like, oh, we're going full upheaval back into theaters. And then they're like, oh, we're not going to do this again. This is the same company that was like, we're not doing a Snyder Cut 5 years ago. But truly, like, if people want, people will get it. So I feel like, who knows, something could come out of this. 5 years from now, we could all be doing our review of the 4-hour air cut, you know, who knows? So nothing's for sure.
Jessica, we threw a lot out there. What are you grabbing onto? What is there anything that is you're wanting to speak your mind on today? What happened to you this morning? You know, like did you have a bad start? Yeah. Whoa.
I think I was the one that actually brought that to Taylor's attention. So
you ruined my whole morning.
Damn you, Jessica.
You know, I just wanted to know if I was gonna be on the review, and no one knew. So
I couldn't believe we hadn't heard about that too. That tweet was from March 17th. Like not like that went under all our radars for what almost 8 days here. Like that's.
I mean, I feel like I don't feel bad that went under my radar for that long, but I feel like, you know, maybe Taylor should have been on that one at least.
Well, I guess we just assumed, like, I know there's other stuff, like, why do you think Jessica, like, just even that, like, why, like, Taylor's mad about Tom and Jerry, but like, Wonder Woman, they did it. Tom and Jerry, like, everything else they've done VOD, and this is the first one, they're like, no, we're not doing that. And the other thing Taylor was referring to is they've signed deals with theaters for next year that they can't do this again, Warner Brothers. The quickest they can do it is 45 days. So let's say the Batman, which comes out in March, you can't put on HBO Max till at least 45 days. So this won't happen again. So they are showing, like, I guess these are the moves that they want to get back to theater. But why do you think Kong is the first one to be like, no, you can't watch if you don't have a theater?
You know, I'm really not sure because especially it is going on HBO Max, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yes.
I mean, we could do Crave plus HBO. It's not it's the same thing that Justice League just did. I don't
Mhm.
know why it's so set in stone. If you go to the actual official like Kong vs. Zilla website, where you can buy tickets, there's only 3 theaters that are even listed as available to purchase tickets to watch this movie for. So it's not like they're gonna be getting a lot of Canadian dollars coming in.
Taylor
So-
looks disgusted. He's just like
No, I'm
shaking his head.
googling it. I'm just so
Oh.
fucking pissed.
but while he googles that, I'll switch back to the talk about Justice League and Wonder Woman and things like that. I do think that there is part of the difference is Wonder Woman, you still had to buy this too, right?
Yeah.
So it was a brand new movie, but I think when you consider in the fact that this got such a high watch along for just, being essentially a remake, a director's change, I think that's pretty impressive, especially, we're comparing it as well to Falcon versus Winter Soldier, which is already included in a lot of streaming services at a lower cost. Like Crave plus HBO is what, double the price of Disney Plus?
I think so. I can't remember because I don't have Crave right now, but it is like, because what, Crave is like $10, right? But then isn't HBO like 15 on top or something like that? Like I feel like it's somewhere in that ballpark.
Something
So you're,
similar, yeah.
yeah, you're looking at $20+, where I think Disney Plus right now is 15 now, but that's because they just added Star, which makes sense because it's like, okay, you got a bunch of adult movies, adult shows, and
But if you
okay.
buy an entire year of Disney, it works out to $10 a month.
Yeah.
And I mean, what was it? It was 30 for one movie to do Wonder Woman. So
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we're kind of comparing a lot of different delivery methods here with, it's hard to just say, oh, well, one got 1.7 million and one got, 2.2, when one was a one-time watch along and one's a $10 streaming service and one's a $25 streaming service.
Mm-hmm. Kirklin, what about you?
It's interesting when you're comparing just the different movies and their numbers there. I'm not too surprised about the list that you said, other than maybe, yeah, like you'd think Wonder Woman would be a little bit higher, but then again, you are kind of forced to just pay the $30 or whatever it was at the time, and then you only get to watch it for what, 48 hours? Is that what the release was on that one? Yeah, and then what happened
Carl's
to Travis?
boob broke. Carl's boob
aw.
broke and just squirted me right in the eye. He's gonna. like
Oh
that
yeah.
one. Oh my god! And it's
Filled with
like
his own boob milk.
it
Yeah,
literally was
milky.
like, it was literally like a porn shot, like the way it like shot over there. It was like the big finish. Oh my god! That's, my hands are so strong. I'm glad we got that on
Squeezed it too
video.
much, yeah.
I feel like Carl did recently offer to send you another boob. So, I mean, if you need a
If it's from my
replacement.
mother, it's fine. I don't need that. But oh my god, Jesus. That's
As
very
Travis
adult.
cleans up his room, yeah.
Yeah, I have a very adult story, but maybe I'll say that for after 9 about the boob of just maybe not finding certain spillage. But Kirkland, continue our serious discussion about streaming stats.
Yes. I feel like with Falcon being a lot higher than, was it a lot higher than WandaVision? Sorry, what was the number again?
No, just like this estimate was like 100,000 viewers. It was WandaVision was 1.6, then Falcon was 1.7. And I do think that Falcon, because I think no Snyder cut, like, I know there's still different audiences, but still people always talk about there's the Marvel DC rivalry. Like, sure there is, but I think most mainstream people, like, they just like comic book movies. I still guarantee you so many couldn't tell you, like, hey, Captain Marvel, maybe now because Avengers Endgame, but let's say Shang-Chi when it comes out, like, is this Marvel or DC character? They won't know until they're sitting in the theaters and they see the credits. So I think it coming out the same weekend as Snyder Cut did hurt it a little bit, as far as that had hype, but it did not have the Justice League hype. Like, everyone was talking about that movie. That was on the tip of everyone's tongue, whether you liked it, disliked it, or just talked about like the changes. Where Falcon Winter Soldier was like, okay, a solid addition to the MCU. It's also the premiere, right? So it's like big things happen, but not the same way as Justice League, where it's like you got a new Joker scene, this and that. So I think it would have been bigger if it was on its own weekend. I really do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like a part of me is kind of surprised that it's not like higher. Like it is above WandaVision, but I feel like it should be more separate, just because WandaVision was so weird and so new and different. Whereas I feel like the mainstream MCU fans look at Falcon Winter Soldier are like, oh yeah, that looks like more of what I'm used to, and just, I don't know, that's just kind of what I would expect. But yeah, other than that, it's interesting like you mentioned, like when we eventually, or if they release it, just the numbers for like the whole show of WandaVision, or like when
Mhm.
Falcon's all said and done, get those numbers. Because I know a lot of people, especially when you're, going off 5 minutes of the episode. I feel like a lot of people started WandaVision for 5 minutes and then they got into the sitcom stuff. They're like, I don't think I can watch this because, I
Yeah.
mean, just speaking out of my own friend group, I had a lot of friends that really didn't like that sitcom stuff, but they just kind of powered through it. I guess I don't want to go into WandaVision spoilers or anything, but I'm just, I feel like it's weird spot to pick of just comparing like whether you're comparing a full movie like Wonder Woman, whether it's Justice League or just like
Mhm.
one episode of WandaVision, one episode of Falcon, because I
Yeah.
feel like they kind of belong in different categories. I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely gotta get that to me, that view count threshold too, because I don't think 5 minutes is like
Yeah,
I guess someone watched it, but to me, watch is like whatever the majority is of that runtime, it should be half of that at least.
it
Because
should be a
that's to me
ratio
watched.
thing. Yeah, because
Yeah,
like 5 minutes of Justice League, like I feel like you could on a
because like, what
4 hour
if those
movie,
people
like,
just
oh my
tuned in
gosh.
and was like, "Fuck this"? I'm at, like they heard like Aquaman was on the beach, those people started singing and they're like, "Okay, I'm done," like, but that counts as a view, It's like the same thing you said with WandaVision
Exactly.
as far as the comedy. So like, definitely should Samba TV look into that. But yeah, it's interesting. That is one thing I do miss about box office because like right away it would come out and this was a success or not. Doesn't matter. Sure, you got reviews, but you could have some like Transformers where like all these movies other than Bumblebee are reviewed terribly, but it comes out makes $1 billion. So it's like, well, clearly there's a market. You can't argue it. There's critics out there and fans don't like it, but it's like people are going to see it. So it's the same thing as this. It's like you don't also get that gauge too of like I guess with rewatches, I guess would be the gauge if people liked it, like if they watch it and then went to go watch it again. But yeah, I
I
don't
was
know.
gonna say
yeah.
with Wonder Woman too. I mean, if I paid $30, and I was like, okay, this sucks. If people ask me, like, yeah, don't pay $30 for that, and it's not worth it. But if with Justice League, even if I didn't like it, it's like, well, I mean, if you've got Crave, go check it out and watch it. So there, that kind of lends itself to Justice League's favor as opposed to strictly just VOD.
Yeah. And
same with WandaVision and Falcon too, right? It's like, oh, if you already got Disney Plus, you might as well just throw it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing because I think they just say North American, so they never clarify like, do these downloads count the VOD or is this just HBO Max, whatever? But that's the negative thing that I hate about streaming right now in the stats because they don't have to release them. So fair enough, that's up to you. You don't got to say a movie bombed or anything, but it's like I said, there's no gauge. There's no like, okay, with this, the only gauge I guess we get is like if something gets a sequel. That's the thing where it's just like. That's where I agree with some people as far as like to talk about like the more negative side of like this has happened before where like Ray Fisher has like said his statements and then like the day after they drop like a trailer or the same night they'll drop like big news like deter the situation. And some people think that's what the castings were today as far as like yesterday this article came out, got a lot of bad press, and then all of a sudden it's like we got Black Adam casting and Flash cat like it's a pattern. They do it a lot. And the thing is that it is weird in my opinion as far as Wonder Woman gets, if let's say these stats are just 100% correct, right? Or the ratio is correct, it gets 2.2 and Justice League gets 1.8. So there's somewhere in a ballpark of 400,000 people separating them. Where Wonder Woman, the Sunday, hey, we're making Wonder Woman 3, Gal's coming back, director's coming back. The Monday for Snyder Cut is we are not making any more of this. We're not doing this anymore. And it's weird because it's like, one, I liked it, so maybe that's why I have more skin in the game this time, but it's like, it's only 400. Like it on paper as right now doesn't make sense. Now this is where it's tough because they can't. If they're not going to show the stats, we can call them bullshit. If they are literally say, "Hey, these were the stats for one of them. These were stats for Justice League. This Samba TV is wrong. Look at these stats. It does not. Or look at the watch time. It's not going to be worth it in the future." But it's like as far as the stuff we're seeing from third party sources, like 400,000 to me is not that much, And this is the thing where people are hoping that there's a guy named Jason Kilar. He's like he's like the president of Warner Media or something. He's like above her and stuff like that. So it is a thing where this is not done yet. People are going to talk about it. I just think there's two things. One, I know there's like a big storm of like, I'm going to cancel my HBO Max or I'm not going to watch the other DC stuff. I've always said you can do that, but don't expect me or other people to do that. Like I very much want to watch the Batman. I very much want to watch the Suicide Squad. I want to watch these other DC movies. I really liked Justice League, but I'm not going to, I don't know, like Jason Clark tweeted today of just like something about a view. He's like, good morning, Twitterverse. And then under his Twitter thread is just all hashtag, restore Snipers, whatnot. Like that's not the way to go about it, because then you just come off annoying and stuff. So I get it, because there's some fans that are really pissed, and because I think it was a lot more successful than people were thinking. So I honestly still don't think this is the end. I think we will hear more. I think you got a better shot of it being on HBO Max though, and being like a streaming service in the future. I don't think it'll be like a theatrical movie. I think they do something like that, or another HBO streaming movie. But I don't know, just tweet the hashtag if you want, support it, but don't be crazy about it. And I, like I said, if you want boycott stuff, you can, but you're not making me boycott anything, unless it's something really terrible that happens. But
well, and even to add on to that, a lot of the pages that I follow, every time they post anything to do with the new Justice League, it's always, oh, make sure you go to IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and give this 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. It's not even like, hey, go and rate this. It's specifically go give it a 10 out of 10.
Oh,
and I mean, I'm looking now. I mean, it got a 73 from critics out of 250 reviews. So it wasn't bad critically. And from what I can tell from other sites, it did okay. But I mean, it's, pretty hard when your fans are flooding the ratings and not letting it do fairly. That's always
been the tough thing with this fan base, because like I said, when we did BVS and everything, that all we saw were like the negative side, because other than Jessica didn't like it, we liked BVS, but Jessica, Dylan, Kyle, Emily, like they didn't. So like all we got was the negative side. And then as I through the years have met different people, it's like, okay, there is a different side, but there is just that side that it's just they do, like, they like DC, but they specifically only like the Snyder DC stuff, and they're gonna keep going. And that's where it's like, you got to be careful, because you don't want to come off too whiny. You don't want to come off as too pushy. You want to just come off as passionate. And I hope they learn that. I know tomorrow, or when this drops, I think, what is it, the 25th, there's supposed to be some event to restore the Snyderverse trending and everything like that. So they're going to try their damnedest. And the thing is where it's interesting, because it worked last time, right? They got what they said. Now this will be the test, because I still have always said, if COVID wasn't a thing, would this have happened? That I don't know, because HBO was just looking for content, right? They're looking for, hey, what could we put out there? Before they moved their slate all to HBO Max, they didn't have much. So that's where it's like, were they never going to do this? And then COVID did happen. Like, sure, we'll do it for some content, but never again. And that's what we're going to know. I said this on DC Alliance, where next 6 months, give it time. We'll see. But if it's a year from now, I said like March 22nd, and we've heard nothing, I would then start saying, I wouldn't count on it, Batman, So
I got a question for you guys. If what happened with Snyder's daughter didn't happen, and this was the original version that came out, and we didn't have the original 2017 version to compare it to, do you still think people would be as gung-ho about it, or do you think it would just kind of be meh?
I definitely don't
think Justice League, the first one was like not good, like not even meh level. Do we think that this one would be meh, or do we still think it would be getting as much praise as it is?
I don't think as much, but I think it would be getting praise, because I think there's also just been years built up of like, well, he could release it, but probably not going to be good considering like his other past movies. So I think the hype definitely built up over the years. But the problem is, like I've said in the review, we wouldn't have gotten this movie. There's no way they would have put out 4 hours like in this like the what if scenario you're putting out. Then yeah, I think so. And then I guess I think they would keep going with these movies. I think Ben Affleck would have done his Batman. They would have done more with Joker and stuff like that. But I don't think we would have ever gotten this movie. I think they still would have made him like erase it down, and then he'd put out a DVD version. Like BVS was the same way. There's a 2 hour or 2.5 hour version, and there's a 3 hour version of the DVD. I think he'd do that. But what about you, Taylor? If we're doing this what if scenario, if this came out, are we still kind of making it like, do we get a Birds of Prey? Do we get a Shazam? Because I still think we get those things. Those things can still exist without the Snyder cut. And that's where the passionate fans are like, hey, we just want these movies. We're not saying stop making, this Batman movie. We just want these ones. But what about you, Taylor?
I think to say like the Snyderverse is, and I don't mean any shade or anything, but I just feel like it's a little bit arrogant, because it's not only Zack Snyder's universe. All these films, especially if you were to bring in, again, hypothetically, if you were to bring in Michael Keaton's Batman into the Flash, again, you're getting into different directors that worked with different characters and created different movies at that time. So this isn't Snyder's verse. He created a cohesive story with parts. Sure, that's great. But when you think of a universe that you're going to be expanding on and building on, you want to have different directors adding to it. Look how good the MCU is. That's all different directors cohesively working together. I know. But then again,
Look
you have
how
a
good
film.
the MCU is, DC bros. We don't have these problems
one
over
streaming
here.
service.
You have something like Birds of Prey, for example, and the original Wonder Woman, and they're helmed by different directors, and those are great films. Again, they in their own right do great things. They weren't handled by Zack Snyder, but Zack Snyder, again, when he's working with the character Wonder Woman, managed to direct and incorporate her character into his story arc very well. Whether or not we get something like that with Harley Quinn, which was, again, spoiler or whatever, dabbled upon obviously in Justice League. I feel like, these characters were established and created, and I'd be more than happy for Zack Snyder to expand upon that story and work with it. But again, it's just like the directors of Infinity War and Endgame. They had all these characters that were built and established, and they had to incorporate them into their story arc that they were building. So I don't think that they should call it necessarily the Snyderverse. I feel like I drifted away from the question. What was the question again?
Well,
What's your question,
I think
Your Honor?
I think they just call Snyderverse like anything he's directing. Like that's kind of the idea. But the question was like, if this came out, would we be in the scenario, or would we be getting more Snyderverse, or would we have not had that same hype?
Oh, right. I think if we got this instead of the Whedon one, and I think we would still get the films like Birds of Prey and everything like that. I don't think we wouldn't. Again, Warner Bros. Isn't exclusively giving Snyder the DC verse.
I'm not talking about other like DCU films. I'm just like, I mean, would we have Zack Snyder's Justice League 2? Like, would it rate terribly like BVS did and everything else? It's the hype for this movie strictly because we saw a really bad one first and then had this time to build up and wait for this one. Does that make it more clear?
It's more clear. It's very different from what Travis told me.
Answer her question.
I think it would build up the hype, yes.
Kirklin.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been a totally
He's like, what's the
different
question?
I feel like it would have been entirely different though. Like if we didn't have this whole, I don't know, internet uproar about the Snyderverse. Because like, to me, I don't know if it wouldn't have been a big deal or anything like this. I feel like most people wouldn't have been as like interested in seeing it right away. I feel like I was actually surprised about the amount of people just in my own social circles that knew about it. They're like, "Oh, dude, you watched Snyderverse?" I'm like, "I didn't even know you like knew about that or anything like that."
Yeah,
like,
bruh.
So, yeah, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of interesting to me. And then getting back to the whole, who was it that said that they're not chasing any more Zack Snyder films or anything like that?
So there's like a tree
executive,
of
right?
people. Yeah, it's the third in command. I'll say that.
Yeah, it just like that statement just sounded so like executive statement. Like they're trying to just get ahead of the uproar. Like it is Monday morning, like just get this statement out there because this is going to be the most.
There's no way they have all the stats either on that Monday. Like
no, exactly. So I feel like that's just something to cover their worst case scenario. Now, obviously, it's not like a set in stone sort of situation where that is because. I mean, you brought up an example already of where they kind of like double backed on their, oh no, we're not doing Snyderverse or anything like this. Like the whole Ayer cut thing, I feel like is the first time I've heard about this, or at least cared enough to remember.
So what there is a version of Suicide Squad which is very similar to this, where it was cut up and changed a bunch, because what happened was, so BVS came out, and if you go watch, you can do this for homework tonight, watch, and not that you want to watch these trailers, but legitimately watch the very first Suicide Squad trailer and then watch the second. And the first one's very dark and creepy and very like, something's going on. The second one is fucking Bohemian Rhapsody and it's going crazy. What happened is BVS came out, and the critics, which I hate this narrative that BVS was too dark. That was not the problem with BVS. It was just, in my opinion, not well written at times. times. So, but the narrative was, this is too dark. We got to lighten it up. So what happened was they took his movie, they hired a trailer company, like a person that edits trailers, to edit the movie, and they edited a lot of stuff out. So like in the movie, I think we've talked about this before, but in his version, Joker does hit Harley and is abusive to her, but they took all that out because they wanted like a nice poppy, like this is light and fun sort of scenario, which to me, again, if you know anything about Joker and Harley, that is quintessential, like that's key to the dynamic. It's not a relationship, it's an ownership. Joker owns Harley until she breaks away. And it's weird because in Birds of Prey they refer to all this, but it's like that wasn't in Suicide Squad. In Suicide Squad they were just in love. So it's weird that happened. So that's the thing where it's apparently darker, less comedic. There's lots of scenes taken out, things like that. So there is an Ayer cut, and he said he's down to do it. And apparently it would be cheaper than the Snyder cut because all this stuff was actually, the vis effects and everything was pretty much done, I think he said. It's just the fact that they cut it because he got his movie changed because someone else's movie. And that's kind of pretty shitty, to be honest. And so it wasn't even on him. It was just, this is too dark, so let's change it. So there is an Ayer cut that people want out there, and I'm all support of that because I'd like to see more Joker. We've always talked about this as far as like, hey, like we never get enough of him to really judge. And what I've seen so far, I've like not really liked. The thought was okay. So, and I do love that dynamic of Harley and Joker more, but there is an Ayer cut, but she said, nope, we're not doing that. Even though that would be kind of very cheap content. You could just put on the network and maybe get some more subs, get some buzz, but no, they don't want that, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like for me personally, like when I first saw Justice League, I like really wanted it to be good, but it just going into it, I kind of thought it was going to be bad just for like the amount of info I had on these new characters that were like making an appearance in this film, and I'm supposed to like learn about them, like them, and then like see their big collab movie moment. That's why the MCU is so great.
Yeah.
It's because it has a lot of time to flesh out these characters, and that's what the Snyder Cut did. Is it gave us 4 hours with these characters to learn about them, grow with them, sort of, and just really like them. And I think that's why the Snyder Cut was so successful. But the thing with Suicide Squad, when I watched it, I like didn't really want it to be good. I was just enjoying how wild and ridiculous it was, and I'm okay if I never see a new version of that one again. Now, if the Snyder Cut does come out,
about the Justice League though, right?
No,
you had no interest. Yeah,
Please don't interject. Exactly. I've ate my word. I've ate my words many times on this podcast. Got my Switch behind me. I said I never was gonna buy Justice League. I had no interest in it, but I still watched it and loved it. So who knows? I could be eating my words here in the future, a couple of years from now, but I don't think that's likely to happen.
Oh yeah, we'll see. The best scenario is anyone's seen this, and I think Kirklin, you've seen this, but let's see if you remember it. You remember The Last Dance, right? Michael Jordan's documentary.
Oh, yeah.
There's that moment where they're kind of displaying like the dynamic between Michael Jordan and the owner, who's like based on Danny DeVito in Space Jam. Like that's pretty much what's happening at Warner Brothers, where it's like these just two camps that are not getting along, and one wants to go one way, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Like. Again, I've said this before, is I'd like to see what the Snyder Cut versus Wonder Woman's views are 30 days later, because like I feel like Justice League would build a lot more because the hype, where Wonder Woman to me just like it came and went. It came out Christmas, everyone saw it, everyone had the same like it was fine, and they moved on. Where Justice League has not had that. It's been talked about, and there's the rabid fan base, but I feel like we've talked about this before. It's been talked about by people that are not into that. So it's all about money.
Is it too wild of an idea to picture, Warner Bros is actually done with Snyder, and they're cutting ties on this thing, and then all of a sudden we have big booty daddy Feige coming in, come here, my son. Well, we can make some dark, gritty stuff in the MCU together.
People have talked about that. I don't think Zack Snyder would work in the MCU as far as they let their directors have free range and they do stuff, but they definitely have a guideline of, hey, we need to do this, this, and this. I think if we ever get to the world where Marvel does their Joker and it's like, hey, we're going to make a movie that's completely out of continuity, have some fun, I could see that. Zack Snyder says the movie he wants to direct the most is Elektra, which I'm like, that'd be a perfect fit. That'd be so good. It's like, let him do this offshoot Elektra movie, have it do with nothing. and that's it. So I would love that. The internet would literally explode. There'd be no more internet the next day if they were to announce Zack Snyder's directing an MCU movie, because you get all the people that hate the MCU that wouldn't know how to deal with it. You have all the people that hate him wouldn't have to deal with, like, it would be fucking nuts. But I think what's gonna happen is, if this doesn't happen, because he has his movie coming out in May with Netflix, I think Netflix is gonna scoop him up, because I think Netflix knows that no matter what, Zack Snyder is now a name that the second his name pops up, it's like controversy or it's talked about. And Netflix is smart, where they've already done one deal with them. I think if nothing happens with DC, they'll sign them to one of those, like, hey, 5-picture movie deal, make what you want, you're with us now, and good to go. Like they did that with Shonda Rhimes, they've done that with Ryan Murphy. Like, Netflix wants to get creators now. They did shows, and that's about getting creators and talent. So if Warner's doesn't get him, I don't think Disney. I don't think that's the route. But I would love it just to see. I would love to see the 1 week span where they announce Christopher Nolan's doing Star Wars and then Zack Snyder's doing Marvel, and just everybody at Warner's be like, "What the fuck happened?" Like, we lost everybody, you know. So, and then now Patty Jenkins's already doing Star Wars, right? I forgot she's already doing Rogue Squadron. So, you know, it's funny. Anything else on this?
I'm just going to throw it out there. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think that it did not help this movie, and when it originally came out, and even still at this point now, that they didn't lead up to it like the MCU did. They didn't do all these, you know, Flash movies, and the like Aquaman movie came out after Justice League, everything like that, because you know, Kirklin talked about how we needed this movie to actually flesh out some storyline. And it's like, that's not what this movie should have been about. This movie shouldn't be about establishing character backgrounds. And I think that, you know, if the DCU wanted to do that. Thanks, Taylor.
That wasn't me.
You've given Travis too much power. It's abusing it.
It's great. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take our very first ad break, and then we're going to be back with some more news. So we'll be right back. And we're back. We're back, as always. Let's talk about this. We're going to talk Black Widow in theaters and Disney Plus.
Fall.
Fuck. That's like September,
like September, bro.
You really need to start watching the YouTube versions now, because there's going to be a lot more inside jokes. So, ladies and gentlemen, so they announced that Black Widow has been delayed again. It was supposed to come out May. It's coming out July 9th right now. It's coming out both theatrically and premiere access. So, Kirklin Patzer, one, what are you going to do if the theaters are open? Like, would you do either or? And two, do you think, because they've done this with Raya, they've done this with, Mulan. This, to me, I think is like a big test to see, okay, is this really going to work as far as premiere access and Black Widow? So how do you think this is going to go?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the first one on Disney Plus that's like a big time, you know, MCU movie. Theatrical, GV big. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna compare it to Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman didn't come out on its own DC streaming service. You know, it just came out to buy the film,
and free on HBO Max. Like, if you already had HBO Max, it just dropped.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they release, like numbers wise, for this one, and how they compare that to because I'm assuming there's tons of places in the States that they can go see this, but in Canada, is it like the Kong route where it's only the three theaters in Canada?
It's so funny how the roles have reversed, where we were getting Tenet and New Mutants in America was, and now we're like, oh no. Well, I think by July though, and I think that's why they pushed it back to see, okay, how many theaters could be open. So I think by July we may have theaters open here. I don't understand how bars or strip clubs could be open, but theaters cannot be open. And I understand 100% why the movie theaters and the theater society, I think they said they're having a meeting with them they said this last week, so who knows when this meeting is. And this is my thing of like, I get, of course, grocery stores, the essentials, right? Those should be open. But there's some places where either you got to open it all or have it all closed, as far as like bar. Like, it doesn't make any sense that on Christmas we weren't allowed to see our families, but then, and I know we're getting a little political here, but then like the bars were so open, and as long as you stayed 6 feet apart, it's like, no, people are coming in left, right, and center. Look at fucking Costco. I don't go in there. I just have people bring my food. But it's like, how many hundreds of people walk in there, and you tell me 20 people couldn't go sit in the movie theater and watch Kong versus Godzilla? It's like, I don't know. I get why they're pissed because like they're completely being shut out. But I think by July it could be open. Jessica from GeekVerse Podcast, you had your finger up.
Yeah. Does anyone here? This is kind of going off topic, but does anyone here know about like what the Rio did down in Vancouver, the Rio Theater?
Enlighten us.
So they are basically they have like an actual upper floor and a lower floor. They're an old school theater, and they turned themselves from the Rio Theater into the Rio Sports Bar, quote unquote. And they play sporting events on the big screen, and they've started selling food and popcorn and beer, and they can get away with it because they're considered a sports bar because they walk beer to people's seats in the actual theater place. Like, it's so stupid that they weren't allowed to run under the exact same circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But because now they're playing sports on a big screen, they can. And like, props to them because it's been going for and they've been going for a couple months, and they found a way to keep themselves alive because I mean, they are an absolute, like, they're a landmark in downtown Vancouver. But it's just, it just shows how twisted it is that this same company doing the same thing, playing a 2-hour-long movie isn't okay, but they can play a hockey game for an hour and a half and then RuPaul's Drag Race right after that for an hour and a half, and that's considered okay.
And sports games are usually like sports games, but it's just like hockey.
I know sports.
Yeah. Like football, hockey, baseball, those are usually at least 3-hour events. Where a movie is like, okay, you have your Endgame and Justice League, but it's like usually they're around 2.5, maybe the most. Like Godzilla coming out, that's 2 hours. It's like Black Widow, I think is like 2:10. So it's like, why do these? It just doesn't make any sense. But I guess that's why they're aiming for July to try and get as many people vaccinated and try and see. Because like we talk about with HBO Max, they all want the theaters back. Because I think a big thing is people talk about the streaming age and how the money goes right in their pocket. It does, but let's just call a spade a spade. Snyder Cut came out the fucking same morning as far as torrenting goes, like the morning before. Raya the next day was up there. Like these movies, that's the problem. When they're not going to just theater, they're going through so many other hands, and all it takes is one person to fucking get it, and it's everywhere on the web, 1080 HD. Where that didn't happen, you might find a fucking cam rip of the Avengers Endgame, and it's like, sure, if you want to watch this, go ahead. If you want to watch, hey, I really like this movie. And like, if you hear like people and you see like the one random guy walking, I did in middle school. I watched, young people and stuff like that, where it's like they just walk by and everything. So if you want to do that, great. But it's like, if you want that pristine movie, you gotta go to the theaters. We're now streaming. It's fair game. So it's like, I think that's the big thing where they know they're losing out on money. If people can just torrent it, watch it. Like my favorite thing that I saw with that Godzilla vs. King Kong, that tweet, I went to go look at it, and then underneath someone was like, I know the way to watch it, and it was just a screenshot of Pirate Bay, and it's just like, but yeah, so it's like but it's just like, if if people can't watch it, and luckily I have HBO Max, so I have a way. VPNs are not illegal, so fuck you, America. I can get it myself, but it's just like, I have a way to watch it, and I'll find a way for other people to watch it legally. But it's just like the people that don't have that way, they're just gonna say, fuck it. Godzilla Kong pops up. Yeah, I'll download, I'll torrent, and there's money gone. So it's like, why not even risk the shot of like, hey, put it out on VOD, because maybe that person spends the 15 to 30 instead of just making that decision. Nah, I'm just gonna torrent it. It's just like, I don't get it. And with this, that's why I like that they have Premier access, where it's like, if you want to spend the money, you can. Even if theaters are open here and you don't feel comfortable, you can spend the additional $30 and watch it, and
well, it's something funny here in BC is that we have like Landmark Cinemas and Cineplex doing delivery anyway. Like you can order popcorn, and so it's like there's obviously people there working at the theater and prepping all this crap, and they've got they got skip drivers coming in and out.
You're supposed to be in the theater.
They're just standing in there on their cell phones. I see them all the
theaters
time.
are closed. Get out of there, buddy.
So yeah, I mean,
hanging on the window.
If people are already there and working, let's just add, do a reserve seating. Have, even if you only did 20 people per showing, at least there's something, right?
Make all tickets, you have to go in advance. No buying the thing. You have to be like a show. You got to buy them in advance. If you don't, you can't go. And like, people would go. So it's just like, No, but Kirkland, I start with you. How do you think it's going to do premiere access for those people that don't have it, or the people that choose to not go home? Because, like you said, this is the big one. This is the big gun of like if this works. Because what they also did is they bumped Shang-Chi to September, so we have Black Widow July, Shang-Chi in September, Eternals November, and then Spider-Man in December now. So now it's like really clogged up as far as we got like 4 MCU movies almost within 6 months of each other. So if the world's still shit by September, which fuck, let's hope not, but if Shang-Chi is still happening, if it's a success, maybe they'll do with that. But if it's not, I imagine they pull it. But what do you think? This is like their first, like this is the GV big one.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like if this one really, I don't know though, because like the numbers are going to be significantly low in comparison to what they originally thought of, because they thought of releasing this movie when COVID wasn't a thing. So like I feel like
Yes,
at this point with the amount
this
of
was
time
$1 billion movie before.
Yeah, and like, holy shit. Yeah.
Well, I think so. Like Captain Marvel, like this is going to be this in pre-COVID
But for like a
world,
prequel, you know, still
but
a
Captain
$1
Marvel
billion,
was a prequel.
but a brand new character that we've never seen before, Black Widow.
Yeah, it just to me
I
it was
don't
the
know.
first movie after Spider-Man Far From Home, and it's just that people would have been dying to see what's next in the MCU. I think that's the thing where it's like this was the first phase 4
Yeah,
movie,
I
and ScarJo was a big name.
I guess I kind of forgot about like that just momentum that MCU had going around that time.
Yes,
Like
Endgame,
it
biggest
feels
movie
like
of all
so long
time
ago. It was weird.
until
Yeah.
Avatar came back out. Now it's the second biggest movie of all time. Fucking Avatar.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. The numbers wise, like for me personally, I do like this Premier Access stuff. I do like the Premier Access stuff. I mean, it allows me to be in the safety of my home, and I get access to this movie forever. As long as I pay that first initial price. So for me, I mean, I like it, especially for the podcast. I'm going to be reviewing it anyways, so I can just, if I'm sitting there, I don't have to leave my house. Kind of go full hermit mode. I can pause it, go to the bathroom, get snacks,
Be
whatever I have
butt-ass
to do.
naked.
Yeah, exactly. Get butt ass naked. Like pause it, come back to it hours later. It doesn't matter what it is. So
What was
I
he
actually
doing?
really
He was
like
just
it.
butt-ass naked and he had to pause it. Now he's back.
I was sweating profusely. It was so hot in here. But yeah, I don't know. I am curious what they're going to be doing going forward with these like other movies that they're hoping to just release theatrically. It's distracting me now. I gotta like turn off my video. But I don't. This is going to be the big one that really I feel like will change things going forward with how Disney in particular does their movie rollouts.
Because if they never do it again, we know like, oh, that didn't go well for them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't them that came out with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It was. So this is their first big movie that's coming out. And again, maybe it's looking brighter on the horizon. Like we're heading into summer, and maybe the restrictions will be lifted a bit. It's tough to say because it's so region dependent. People in Florida, they're going to be lined up, around the theaters to go see this probably, or I guess at their strip clubs, wherever they're showing it.
Well, and that's the thing where it's like, even if Premier Access, like, take that out of it, if the theaters do better than they were even expecting, at least, maybe that will be a sign of, oh, we don't need Premier Access. Because I said this on Marvel Alliance last night, my last episode, very sad. I was saying that like, people will go to the theaters not because they've been missing movies so much, just like you said, as far as there's people that don't care about restrictions at all. They'll go there, no mask, no PPE stuff at all, just to go see a movie. Like, look at all the people at these fucking concerts that are like thousands of people. It's just like, what are you doing? Naked. Yeah, butt ass naked, genitals everywhere. Yeah, and yeah, not even on their genitals, no mask. But it's just like there's people dumb enough that they don't care. They're just gonna go regardless and not take any precautions. They're not gonna sanitize. So it's just like that's why I think it will, I guess, do well, unfortunately. I guess the other thing I forgot to mention, and I'll throw it to you, Taylor, is Cruella took its date of May 28th, and that will be doing Premier Access as well. I can tell you now that I'm going to say I'm not going to pay for it, but I feel like I am, just so I can, like, I don't want to say hate watch, but this movie...
You're going to screenshot Pirate Bay underneath the comments? Like...
No. Like, this movie, I'd have to pay to see it, just put my money where my mouth is, because, like, I'm on two sides of, like, who's gonna pay to see this? But at the same point, I'm like, should I pay to see it just see how I think it's gonna be bad? But I probably won't because I want to prove them. I won't because I want to prove them right and say, hey, why'd you make a fucking movie about a dog murder as the main character? This seemed like a bad choice. But Taylor, will you begin Cruella? And do you think how do you think Black Widow's gonna go in July?
You look like you want to say something, Jessica.
Did you mean to say will you begin Cruella? I feel like that was just kind of.
Yeah, is he gonna get Cruella? He's gotten almost every Disney one Premier Access. So
Missed out on Raya. That was the best one.
Yeah, Raya, that was a good movie. I did catch up with it. Yeah, Premier Access, great service.
Very convincing.
Yeah, very good service. I don't know where Travis went. So I can see his shoulder. You see it? It's like right in the
Clean
corner.
off the milk on the ceiling.
The milk off from his teeth. Yeah, no, I think as far as Cruella goes, the trailer, I was interested.
You're gonna catch up with that one too.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. It's hard. Like when I get to the checkout screen, I see that $50 price tag or $40 price tag. It's like, oof, you know, that's
how
expensive.
Taylor ends up in prison. The SWAT just kicked down his fucking door because of Cruella.
No, I pay for all of these Premier Access films. Of course, I'm gonna support the whole thing. You know, I believe in Mulan. Definitely supported that. And,
I believe in Mulan.
Not paying to support Kong or Zilla.
Well, they're not giving him the option. I
No,
think he would pay.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that. So when I was ranting, like this is funny because how Travis reacted, I felt like it was the equivalent to being like a little kid in like a toy store or like a dollar store, and you're playing with the toy on the shelf, and the service like salesperson comes up and like, you put that toy down unless you're buying it, and the parent walks in. This is Travis. He's like, I don't give a fuck. My kid can play with whatever he wants. So that's Travis. He's like, today we're gonna find you a way to watch Godzilla versus Kong. I don't give a fuck about VPNs.
Well, no, I understand because you've been talking about like we like to bug and kid and whatnot, but we are friends. I understand how excited you are for this movie, and I just feel like if I was in that scenario and it's just like, man, what a kick to the nuts. And it just feels like Warner Brother, as usual, they just have no fucking clue what they're doing over there. They're like the second, third most biggest studio of all time, and they can't tell their ass from their fucking eyebrows. So it's just like I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why they're just like, yeah, Vancouver and Toronto, the biggest theater markets in Canada, are not open. Yeah, you can only see this in theaters. Like we said, 3 theaters. Like, what are you doing? Like, just give the option. So it's just like I felt your pain when I saw that. I was like, that's just fucking just a dick power play movie. Like I get you want to get back to theaters, but it's like, come on now. You also want to piss people off. So, but hey, good thing Americans got that HBO Max. You know, good for them.
Yeah. So yeah, Cruella. I mean, it's intrigued me. It's intrigued me. I think more than I think any of you guys. I don't think you guys were all super fond of it, but I mean, I kind of like the story. I'm not expecting her to kill any dogs. At least I hope she doesn't kill any dogs in this movie. Like I don't know how gory they can get, but they better not kill any puppers.
What do you think about Black Widow, Mr. Puppers?
Oh, Black Widow, right?
Oh, right.
It's literally the banner at the bottom. Come on.
Right. Thank you.
He still forgets the fucking conversation. And it's right
What's
there.
the question, Your Honor?
Yeah.
No, I think Black Widow's gonna do well. I really do. And as for like, getting it on Disney Plus, I think that's hype. It's definitely a test of the waters because, I mean, using a Disney Plus show is in no way a fair comparison to a movie. Even if, again, you say like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as they pitch, is like they want it to feel like a 6-hour, 6-part film. Again, it's not the same thing. It has that TV style show aesthetic and all that jazz. So Black Widow being the first feature film for the MCU going on there, like it'll be interesting because, like you said, Kirklin, the differences between that and Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's new character, yeah, it's a $1 billion movie. This, as you say, Travis, had the potential to be a $1 billion movie. It is a prequel. It is about a character that we've already seen many times. Yeah, it is ScarJo. She's a great actress. Yeah, the character is dead. But it's curious to see what's going to veil because this movie could have a lot of secrets. It could, obviously, it's going to have a lot of setups to these new characters and their interactions in the future. I'm assuming, just like Captain
We're
Marvel.
gonna get some
set up.
juicy end credit scenes. I've been
Oh,
telling you
yeah.
from day one because it's the first movie of Phase 4. The end credits are gonna be fire. I'm telling you, like we're gonna get some good stuff.
Mhm.
Thank you, Taylor. Anything else on Black Widow movie theater Disney Plus?
You didn't even ask me, Travis.
You started because you started. I guess we were talking about Kong and everything like that, and like the strip club stuff. So go ahead. If theaters are open, are you gonna see it, or are you gonna sit at home and do premiere access?
I won't go to theaters. I can't get vaccinated right now, so waiting on that herd immunity. But I think that, so if I didn't have to watch this movie for the podcast, not that I had to, but I wouldn't. I have no interest in Black Widow. I think she is a boring Avenger, and I have no interest in her personal storyline or any of her backstory or future story. Putting it out there now, honestly, throw up whatever your Jessica says Black Widow
I remember
says.
you said you weren't even sad when she died in our Endgame review. I remember that.
She pitched it to the directors.
It's it's true. I texted.
Like, we
Feige.
have
I
4
was
more
like,
movies
yo.
with her, Jessica. I don't care. We gotta get her. We gotta kill her off. It's okay.
Like I remember back when there was rumors that she was supposed to be getting her own movie, like back way long ago, and I was just like, I don't see a need for it. What is the point? I don't get it. So for me, I think at least with Premiere Access, I mean, I can pause and go to the bathroom and, sit on my phone. I could push her off a cliff, whatever it is. For me, I think that this has that benefit that you'll still get some people that, I'm not super into this, but, I don't have to drive to the theater and I don't have to, take my entire family and, for me, like I can watch it and then Matt can watch it the next night. We can trade off with Kai, right? So I do think that there is the benefit of offering it as both. I think that we will hopefully see a good turnout with that. I think that it's smarter than, Wonder Woman was just VOD, Snyderverse was just on streaming services. So I think having multiple options for people will really open up how many viewers that they can get, especially with, it's been a really big drought of new movies because of COVID. So I think that that'll definitely help it as well. People are kind of jonesing for something. I think Snyderverse kind of showed just how bad people are like, we need something new and exciting.
We want to watch new. We want to watch comic book movies. We want to watch people fighting and everything like that. So, yeah. Anything else? Going once, going twice.
On Disney Plus or on Black Widow?
Both.
Okay, I got something for Disney Plus.
Sure. What do you want to shout out?
This kind of goes hand in hand with the bet me and Travis placed
Oh
earlier.
no, I didn't even see him add this in. Oh no. He had a Disney Plus National Treasure series tab. Oh no. Fuck.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So again, we talked about the chat earlier because they announced that they were doing National Treasure 3, and then they announced that they were doing a National Treasure Disney Plus series. And Travis seems to think we're not going to get Nick Cage as a main character in the movie.
Did they for sure announce 3, or did they just say we're doing more movies?
They did. We can drop the Googles right now.
Well, yeah, you can do it, then you can do share screen and show the article. But so here's my pitch, and this is what I want to get the you two as far as like, okay, Nick Cage, yeah, people love him, but I just don't think he is the star he used to be. And what they do nowadays is they do the thing where it's like the older actor and they pass off the baton to someone new. And that's what I think would happen, where he could have a cameo or a supporting role when Taylor's like, they're not going to Luke Skywalker him. I think 100% they're going to Luke Skywalker him. You know why? Luke Skywalker is arguably the biggest character of all time, and they did that to him. And not like, so I don't think what's his name in National Treasure, Taylor?
Ben Gates.
Ben Gates. That might be it.
Well, why didn't you wait till you have the article, Taylor? Why didn't you pick one instead of
Variety? National Treasure 3 moves ahead from Disney. Jerry Bruckheimer with the Bad Boys for Life screenwriter. Chris Bremner tapped write the script. This is fine. He's writing a fourth Bad Boys. How about that, eh? Nicolas Cage, I'm sure. Yeah. So I read somewhere that it's it's supposed to be something. Oh, I know. Oh, here we go. From Iger. This is what Iger said. I know that Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced National Treasure 1 and 2, would like to make a third movie, and I know that discussions about the film have gone on probably since 2016 with our studio, but I know that they have not greenlit such a film, Iger said last year. Well, we don't need to get into the rest of that.
Just why don't you control F the word cage?
I don't see him. Oh, for fuck's sakes!
I don't see F on my keyboard, Jessica. Oh, sorry, that's the one I'm missing.
But this is the good stuff. This is the good. Disney and Jerry Bruckheimer are moving ahead with a third film. With this guy right here.
No, that doesn't say that in the article at all. It says Bruckheimer signed off.
What the fuck?
It's just like a big dick. Oh, look, it's a Snyder cut. But no, like just a bunch of porn. Like look at all the fucking tabs he has. You gotta close those, my man. Oh my god.
I'm on Games Radar, and it says as far as National Treasure 3 goes, director John Turteltaubom.
That's a fake person. That is not a real human being.
That's
returns to work with Chris Brenner, along with Nicolas Cage, Justin Bartha, Diane Kruger. So
what's the date on that one though, Jessica? What's the date of the article?
This one was 7 hours ago.
Oh, okay. So
7 hours ago.
That's why I'm saying control. Okay, you go into a more recent article. Yours is from a long time ago.
January of last year. But okay, either way, regardless, 9 things you might not know about National Treasure. Where are we now? Taylor's has too much power. Okay, either way, it doesn't matter. So we've seen some reports say no. Why National Treasure 3 never happened? We've seen some yes. My thing is he may be. I'm not even saying he's not in it. I just don't think he'll be the main character. I think he would be supporting with someone else.
No.
Nicolas
Cage returning as the lead role of Benjamin Gates.
They say that now. I know, but this is what I'm saying as far as I think it will be. So if it's the lead role and it's like a co-leading role, then sure. I just don't think Nick Cage has the star power. I don't know if they can trust him anymore either. Like, look at his track record lately of bad movies.
Can I just help Taylor for a second first? Just like go back to where you search National Treasure 3 and then click on the news tab at the top.
Yeah, Taylor. Why do you not do that?
I like to see all
like images.
And then the very first one is Variety. There you go.
But this is just about the series. They announced they're doing a 10+ series with a Latino lead.
Yeah, but now if you control F on your keyboard and type in Cage, there you go.
So that's in there. Writing with Chris Brammer as third movie, returning as the lead. So that's what they're saying, and I'll take them at their word. But I'm still saying, oh, promising young woman. Everyone go check out DC Lance. I got to talk about that because she's directing a DC movie. Yay! I still think it's going to be at least a handoff movie. I think it will not be designed for him to be around longer. That's my prediction. I hope for Taylor's sake it is. I don't really care. I've seen 1.5. I can't remember them. I have no like reverence for this. I have no dog in the fight. I'm just preparing Taylor because they like to retire their heroes. We don't need to get into the fucking clickbait articles down there, Taylor.
Sorry. It's so good.
Get out of there. Stop sharing your screen. Kirklin, you got any excitement for National Treasure 3 or a series, whatever the fuck we're getting?
Yeah, there's always a special place in my heart for National Treasures. I watched them all the time when I was younger. I don't know. I love that movie. And I feel like I mostly just watched the first one. Probably seen the second one like I don't know 4 times.
The second one made more money than the first one.
Interesting. Damn. I remember being like a young buck and just so excited in theaters, like seeing the sequel to National Treasure.
Just hit puberty. Just had to go see National Treasure.
Voice is cracking. Yeah.
Wait, Dad, what do I do with this? I tickled myself down there and I got some weird feelings.
I don't know. I'm kind of in Travis's boat, though. I feel like this would be a handoff movie because I just can't see him just being a lead in like the next. Especially if this movie's like good and they keep making them. I'm not saying it's gonna be, but like if they keep making them and he's just like this older and older man that just keeps getting put with these like young historians, I think that would just be almost like a satire, honestly.
Well, you have
just
this,
so
and then you got
ridiculous.
Indiana Jones too, where Harrison Ford's about to be fucking 80 years old, and he's still like whipping and everything
Yeah,
like
I'm
that.
not a big fan of that.
No,
Like,
they
let's
should
just
pair them
enjoy
up.
them in their prime. Like
Yeah.
I love Nick Cage in those in that original one. I loved Indiana Jones. Jeez, Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones in the original ones, and like I don't know. I feel like if they keep coming back though, like it'll almost just like dampen the
Yeah.
the older films. I don't know. Taylor Field, captain of GeekVerse, looking to prove his worth.
Captain of GeekVerse. I don't know about
Captain.
that. Come on now. Let's not be too
The
ridiculous
it's
here.
the lowest title out of all of us.
So I'm gonna pitch this. I'm pitching this out to the
a
fans.
Thrawn, Grand Moff.
I'm showing this. So can you name a trilogy of films that Nick Cage has been in? Because it wasn't Ghost Rider, but I feel like this is going to be it. This is going to be his first film trilogy.
So,
And
but hang
that's why-
on. A counter. Is there? Do you know for a fact, Taylor Field, that there is another trilogy, or are you just asking us to name a trilogy?
As far as I can't say for a fact, but from what I have looked, I cannot find a trilogy of films based on the character from Nick Cage.
What type
I
of
really
question
can't.
is this? He asked you the question and he doesn't even know the answer.
Well, no, like I know the answer.
Wrong
The answer
answers.
to me is
There are
no.
wrong answers.
But the answer
No,
to me is
no,
no.
you
but
said,
I can't
"I know the
factually
answer."
prove it.
Yeah, but then you said to me the answer is I'm gonna say no because I don't think there's been anything. He's done 2 Ghost Riders. He's done 2 National Treasures. What other sequel movies has he done before?
He doesn't do sequels unless we get one for Color Out of Space, which might be well, no, he died or something, and that's
Was he in
Yeah.
Kick-Ass 2?
No.
Oh, he wasn't he?
Was he?
Nope.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's gone.
Oh, yeah,
so
he
no,
died.
I guess
He's a
this
one
will be
and
the
done.
first trilogy. Yeah, that'll be the first Nick Cage trilogy. What a historic moment.
Ghost Rider, I guess. That's 1 and 2.
When they bring
Yeah.
him back for the MCU, that'll be his third.
They need to.
In all his movies, he's just gonna be handing off like the role to someone else. His next like 3 movies.
Just watch. He's going to get sick before National Treasure 3 and then just never have a trilogy.
Get sick. That's a horrible thing to say. Oh no.
Gonna have to drop out, get the coronavirus or something.
Oh my god.
I don't want to do that podcast, but Nick Cage passes away. That's gonna be a really sad day. We'll make it a fun one as far as celebrating his
We'll
life.
make it a fun day.
We'll shit on all of his movies. Yeah.
Jessica, do you have any care about National Treasure, the series, the movie, whichever one?
I've seen the first one. I know that. I maybe once. I don't think more than that. I don't think I've ever watched the second one. So maybe I'll wait and watch it for a first time for the retro for when number 3 comes out. Then I can come in with clean slated opinion.
Retro those. Yeah, we could retro those. That would be a good pair to do.
You know what? They might be a good watch. I feel like the first one could definitely be a watch along. I feel like that would be a fun one, especially.
Steal the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, well, we'll leave them as retros then. I'll wait and watch them for the first time, and the first time in like 10 years for a retro.
There you go. Taylor, any last thoughts on this? I know you said a lot, but we'll be moving on here.
This show's gonna be something for the kids. Get the kids into the National Treasure franchise, and treasure seeking, looting
Kids don't
pyramids.
give a fuck about Nick Cage just looking for treasure.
Well, no, he's not in this series. This is a whole new storyline.
This one, okay.
Yeah, no,
Right.
that's for the kids. Looking for treasure and stuff. That's what all kids are all about. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow or something.
I don't think you have kids, sir.
No,
Yeah, well, there you go. We're going to take another ad break, and then we're going to be right back talking about some DC castings, unless Taylor has any other surprise topics to fucking throw in there. So we'll be right back. Oh, I almost deleted the thing. We are back. Here we go. We're talking about just a quick rapid fire DC casting. So I talked about this on DC Alliance. It's not a casting, but the woman who directed Promising Young Woman right now is writing a Zatanna movie. She's posed to direct it as well. So go check out that. We had a long conversation, but I cannot wait because that was my favorite movie last year. They announced that there's these 2 actors. I can't remember her name, or I think it was Sorcy Monica Jackson, and then apparently they're like YouTube personalities. Never heard of them. Like I hear this all the time where someone talks about YouTube personality. I've never heard of them, but they've been cast in unidentified roles as far as Flash. Unfortunately, we had heard this was going to be happening, and it's gone through. They've recasted Henry Allen, Flash's dad, because of scheduling conflicts. They have Ron Livingston, who Ron is a really good actor. I'm always going to be disappointed Billy Crudup's not there. And the thing is, like, I feel like Henry Allen will not be in the movie that much, so I feel like you could have moved it around to get him in there. Billy Crudup is just phenomenal, so that's disappointing, but I still like Ron. And then they announced that Pierce Brosnan is going to be playing Dr. Fate. Now, you guys don't know much about this character, but he has a very kind of mystical past. You could say, some people do compare it to Doctor Strange, but it's a bit more almost sometimes like a curse, and that helmet has a lot of power as opposed to just him. But Ken Nelson's a very interesting character, and this is one people have been looking for a lot. Kirklin, I'll start with you because I know you don't know much about Dr. Fate, but I know you love Pierce Brosnan like me, and so he's going to be in the Black Adam movie that The Rock's starring in. So that cast is kind of coming along nicely, but I'm really pumped because I love Pierce Brosnan. He's like, I think Daniel Craig's the better Bond, but Pierce is in my heart still my Bond, and I love those movies. So yeah, what do you think about that? And any of the other casts we want to talk about? But just the other one I forgot is Helen Mirren, which you can't speak on because you haven't seen the first one, but she's going to be playing the villain in Shazam 2, which I think is a great get for them. Like getting a great actress like that, like a Hollywood legend. That makes me more excited. That's the most exciting news I've heard about Shazam 2. Is somebody that thought Shazam 1 was all right.
Yeah, so the first one I'll talk about is I guess Helen Mirren, since I haven't seen the first movie. I'm intrigued about that one, even though I haven't seen the first one, just for that casting. She's just, great and powerful Helen Mirren. It'll be interesting to see her as a villainous type role. Yeah, big name. And I'm curious as to what role she'll play, if she's like on the front, just like a comforting old lady, and then like behind the scenes she's like pulling strings, or I have no ideas as to what it could be, and
there's no details yet on the role either.
Yeah.
Like there's no even like, oh, it could be this. It's just she's the villain right now.
Nevertheless, it's pretty interesting. I'm more positive on that one than I was for Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. So
yes.
There you go. And then the next one, I'll just mention that CRC Monica Jackson. I was watching Dairy Girls with Shay, and she's in that one. It's on Netflix. She's really good in it. I really liked her humor and everything like that. So it is going to be interesting seeing her on a bigger platform like DC. So good for her. That's pretty cool. And then the other one, a little sad I'm not getting Billy Crudup still in the Flash, but I'll get over it. I'm sure it'll be one of those things that I'm like, oh, I'm sad that it's not Billy Crudup, but when I go to see it, I'll kind of forget about it and just like the new guy. And then Pierce. The last one, Pierce. That was always like my Bond. I think that was like probably the first Bond movie I'd seen was the one that he was in, as well as like Nightfire, like the game for GameCube. Like he was the cover guy for exactly. Like I love him. So I've always just liked his just ambiance that he brings to roles, and just like a very like sleek gentleman. Like, so I'm really excited to see him with The Rock on Black Adam, and just overall really positive on all these castings. So that's exciting.
Yeah, and if you don't know who Dr. Fate is, it's worth like looking up an image. He's pretty cool and whatnot. He's very like mystical and magic and stuff like that. So Jessica, what about you? You got any thoughts on any of these castings? Any of them pique your interest?
I don't recognize a single one of these names.
Wow. Even Helen Mirren?
The top of my head, I have no idea who that is.
Oh my god. She's a dame.
Run to your 30-second video thing, Taylor, when you just cut out. He has no idea what I'm talking about.
Don't do it, Taylor.
So, I mean...
I love it. I love the music. It's like when something bad goes wrong. It's like, oh no. Just cut to it.
It would have been better if you kicked me to the waiting room and then came back and it's just okay.
You're just gone.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. It's like next on the docket.
Yeah, we're like, because Taylor could add clips and stuff like that, so he has lots of danger. But yeah, literally, it could be like, ladies and gentlemen, like Nick Cage has passed away, and then it's just. But yeah, so once, because this is the first night using this, but once Taylor, if you want, they have to be under 200 megabytes, but you can add little clips in there and whatnot. I trust
Ooh.
you to do all right, but honestly, we'll have to talk about that because I guess we gotta look out for the audio listeners too. But so
he
yeah,
doesn't trust us, Kirklin. We don't have this power.
What?
I wouldn't
not
trust
yet.
myself.
You don't
so-
know who Helen Mirren is, so I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, you know no names. Okay, there we go.
And even like, because you're talking about these, they're all like DC characters, and
Yeah.
and I mean, I was looking at, because you shared them in the GV chat, and I don't really know who any of like these comic book names are anyway. Like I
Mhm.
don't know any information about Black Adam or, you know, the Rudy and Sarasis or whatever their names are. Like I don't know who they were cast
Separate
as, but
people.
I have a feeling that I have no idea what their characters that they've been cast as, what they would play anyway. I feel like for me, this is something that it doesn't necessarily affect me in the same way like things like Borderlands, where I know about it, does. And it's going to be something more when I watch a trailer or when we get to the point when the movie comes out and it's just like, ooh, that was good or bad. Right now, I'll be honest, I don't have too many thoughts on it because the names are not big enough for me. And I'm looking up this Helen Mirren person.
Helen. It's not
Yeah.
Helen.
Yikes.
Put some respect on her name.
She's a dame. All right. So Taylor Field.
I mean, her main movies that come up, I haven't seen any of them. The Queen, The Good Liar, Red, Prime Suspect. Seen none of these.
Wow. That's there you go. You got some homework to do. Taylor, any of these that got you going?
So, yeah, the Sourcey YouTube
Saoirse.
lady, Saoirse,
Is she a YouTube lady?
That's
Because
what you
like,
said,
Well,
Travis, right?
I know
Googled her and didn't
I
say-
know he was, but then because I saw someone comment say like, oh, maybe they're playing YouTube personality, so maybe she's not. They just lumped her together. But I know he is just from this article. I have no idea his I have no idea his channel or anything like that. I heard him the first time.
Yeah, I can't speak too much to her, but yeah, Helen. I mean, I don't see why that's a bad thing at all. I mean, heck, like that's great. I thought she was going to be thrown in the Borderlands with all the other great actors and actresses, to be honest. But no, she got in Shazam too. I think that's awesome. And as a villain, I think she played a very, very like scary, intense villain. I think she could really bring it to the table with that. So I'm totally on board for that. As I like Shazam. I think it's a good movie and everything. So I'm excited for that sequel. So Pierce
was
Brosnan. Sorry, go ahead.
She was a national treasure too for you there, Taylor.
Yeah, she played Nick Cage's mom.
Was she in the first one too?
No, they introduced her in the second one. They introduced the dad, which is John Voight in the first one, and then him and her had some nice drama in the second one.
So do you think that the third one will be about Nick Cage passing it off to her?
I don't think so.
About time, son.
As for
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan, I loved him in Mrs. Doubtfire, so I think it's going to be great seeing him in this. So.
I love that that's your touchstone is Miss Doubtfire. It's great to have, and I want them to release that rated R cut that they were talking about this week.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, release the Doubtfire cut. Like, I really want to see why that movie was rated R. Obviously, it's because Robin Williams was just going off, but yeah, well, there you go. It's fun stuff. I'm excited to see Pierce. That's that's what's got me going. So what's not got me going here is this potential Ace Ventura 3. And I feel like I didn't hear about it until Taylor had shared it. And then I'd seen it from the writers of Sonic the Hedgehog. I didn't even know about this. Oh my God, no. This is getting worse. Now, Taylor, clarify, because I'd seen some articles just say they are making this, and then back to the Nick Cage thing, I had seen some articles saying Jim Carrey was in it. What's more have you seen? Is it just like if they're making a third one, I assume Jim Carrey's in it, right?
I feel like they would have to. I don't know. I didn't assume that he wasn't. I mean, I assumed that he would be because it's Ace Ventura and he's like the staple for it. They did do some weird like
he's gonna be handing it off
junior years or something with the like kid or whatever, which is just not my cup of tea. But again, with it being the the writers from Sonic, I feel like that would definitely be again, like kind of like hand in hand, because obviously they work with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is Robotnik, so I feel like that's just more
Right. I blocked that out of
credibility
my
there.
mind. Fuck.
So again, like this needs to happen. Like I watch it. It needs to happen. I think Ace Ventura is one of the again one of my like the greatest films I think I've ever seen in my life. Like it's
For me and
just
Coach.
it's
I'm ready
so
to play.
good. Oh, like his laugh, everything when he's coming out of the rhino and they're all watching the rhino give birth. And just everything he does and his mannerisms are so like peak Jim Carrey, absolute peak.
Oh yeah.
There's so much that he does in those films that is just great. Like he just I can't put into words. I would love to do a retro or like com track or something with you guys for that. It's just so fucking funny.
We don't need this. We don't need Jim Carrey. We don't need Jim Carrey to be Ace Ventura again. We saw how that went with Dumb and Dumber. It did not go well. The movie was just Dumb and Dumber over again, but the jokes were less funny, and it was the exact same jokes. I think there just gets to a point where the people, and this sounds bad, get too old to like play certain roles. Not saying he can't do it, but do I need to see a 50, nearly 60-year-old Jim Carrey doing the like, all the moves and running after the animals and all that stuff and saying his catchphrases, having the hair? I don't think I need it. I really don't. I'm fine if this one stays in development hell. I'm fine if we leave it in the past. If they do it, sure, I'll give it a go. I'll watch it and see what it's like. But it's, I don't know. I just saw this and I was like, oh, do we need it? And I guess we might need it.
We don't need it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we need it. All these movies that have kind of like just been like attempted to be like resurrected from like the 90s or whenever they came out, I feel like they just kind of have to stop doing it. I don't think it's been successful like once, unless you can correct me. Especially like I watched Ace Ventura not too long ago. Like that is so like not an appropriate movie for today's like climate. Like you could never release something like that nowadays. And like they're gonna try and redo something like that. Like just it's like bringing back these actors like Nick Cage and the National Treasure thing. That's just like, why can't we just remember those old ones as like good? Just move on with our lives. Like I don't know. That's my quick take, but yeah.
I will not watch this. I have not seen the second one. I don't even know that I've seen all of the first one. I was not a fan. I'm sorry to say, I like Sonic the Hedgehog. I definitely put my vote in for it. I think it was Villain in our Golden Geeks. But
thank God.
But that doesn't actually come off as a pro for me. That is by the writers of Sonic.
But I was gonna say, I forgot this story, but it's a funny one about Ace Ventura. So where my cabin is in the States, there's a store not too far from there you can drive to and you could rent movies. This is back in the day with VHSs and everything like that. And I rented it, and it was like, I can't remember when, but it was like pretty early on in the movie, like 15, 20 minutes. And like the VCR already was not the greatest, but there was a one part that I really liked, and I had to watch it again because it was so funny. So I rewound it, and then the tape got stuck, and we spent like a whole 2 hours trying to get it out there. When it came out, like the string was like, the tape was like hanging out and everything like that. I just remember thinking like, oh, I didn't need to. And my mom even said like, don't rewind it. The VHS isn't that good. Don't touch it. And then I did it. And then it was this horror deal trying to get it fucking out of there. And we had to return it back to the place. Like, oh yeah, it might be damaged. And like, oh yeah, just I have bad memory. And I actually don't think I've ever seen Ace Ventura 2 all the way through just because of that. Because it scarred me. I think I've seen it always enough. But that first one is classic. But I agree with Kirklin. There's like definitely some stuff in there that's not going to fly nowadays. So they're going to have to narrow it down a little bit. And
you'll
I don't
have
know
to
if
pinpoint what one of those things is, because I'm curious. I can think of like easy. One, but
it's easy. But like all the jokes about Finkelhorn is like, because okay, spoiler for Ace Ventura, but it is a man who became a woman. But all those jokes are just like low blow bottom the tier, and that's fine, not fine, but like that's was the times, right? I'm just saying they didn't
Yeah.
make that now, but I think with Kirklin saying, it's like you couldn't do that now because it's like the jokes are literally, it's just like the joke is that the joke is something is wrong with that person because they are gay. And that's like the tons of those jokes in the 90s, right? Where nowadays you couldn't do that. Like, that's not right to do that. You know, it's like when he kisses her, he like this whole thing when he gets in the shower and he's washing his mouth and washing his body. It's like, there's just so much stuff. Like, there is stuff where like, that's why I didn't do any sort of type of accent, but when he does go to like the mental institution and pretend he's not all there and like that stuff, like Deputy Dewey from Scary Movie, it just doesn't play or age well, you know. Even though I'm just laughing because I just love the part where he says, "Put me in, coach, I'm ready to play." And it's more the doctor's reaction of just like, your brother's gonna do it, he's, you know. But it's just like, there is things where you just can't today. It won't work. It will be met with like because it shouldn't work for some stuff. There is some stuff where I agree, and we always joke in our group chat that yes, there's some stuff where people overblow and they go way too much. Like, okay, you don't need to be so woke about this. You don't need to like blow gasket. But then there is stuff when you look back, you watch and go, yeah, that just doesn't play anymore because you're not including people in a joke, you're poking at someone. You're saying this person's funny because
don't you think it's a good advocate for animals' rights though? Like in the second one,
sure, but that has nothing to do with the jokes.
She's wearing the real fur in the second one, and her husband is like, he's like, Jim Carrey knocks him out. He's like, you look like the Monopoly guy. He's like making his mouth move. He's like, do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Yeah,
it's so good.
And that's great, but that doesn't like give them a pass for all the other
no,
risky
they don't
jokes,
have to
right?
they don't have to do like the risky stuff. I mean,
yeah, and that's what they wouldn't do. But then that's saying like, do they feel if they don't do the risky stuff, they got to go? Because like, you guys enjoyed Sonic, I did not. That's a fucking shit ass movie. And Jim Carrey's humor in that, into me, is like, that's exactly what Ace Ventura will be. It's just him playing Jim Carrey, but he has to tone it down because he can't be outlandish. And I just think like Dr. Obama, Egghead, whatever, like that was just like he not phoning it in, but that was just like, hey, think of the best things you've seen of Jim Carrey and then take that down by -20. And that was him. That was what he was doing there. And that's what you get with Ace Ventura. That same thing where he's just very loud of and very funny of like, who's in charge here? Who's in charge? Like, that shit's not funny anymore. And that's like I don't think this is a good idea. I hope it doesn't happen for his sake. So anything else on Ace Ventura 3? Going once, going twice, the animals are out. So that's all the topics I have. Taylor, I'm sure you have something to throw in, but if anyone has any topics to throw in, now is the time. Put me in, coach. Who wants to come in, coach? Who has some news they want to say before we end this newscast?
I have one thing, but you guys can go. I know Jessica had something she was popping off on in the chat earlier.
Yeah, we got some new Pokemon Snap information, Travis, for us to talk about. His face.
Tried to keep a straight face while he did. Pulled it off.
I was just jamming out to the music.
It's very jamming out.
It was kind of like a countdown to the biggest news of the cast.
Pokemon Snap news.
Oh.
Go ahead. Floor is yours.
So I'll just go ahead and list off kind of the things that we now kind of learned. So basically, more Pokemon will appear the more you play. So basically, kind of the farther in game you get, the more you're going to have. There is now level variance. So, for example, you can play the beach during like day, sunset, or night. So that'll affect kind of how the game is played and replayability. There's alternate routes. So you can, instead of just having to follow the one singular route, you might be able to go left or right. Also, once again, adding replayability. Different kind of interaction with the environment. So you can throw things into plants to cause them to move, shine lights, like scare Pokemon out from hiding, things like that. You can choose your character preset, which, if I remember correctly, you couldn't have any type of character like definition in the first one. It was just kind of the game started and that's what it was. Unlike most Pokemon games, there is no other bonuses for owning like prequel Pokemon games such as Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee or Sword and Shield. a lot of games, if you have other variants of Pokemon games, you can import Pokemon or you can get bonuses, things like that. Pokemon Snap will not be offering anything. They have changed up some of kind of the button controls to make it easier to allow for like taking pictures without zooming in, and how kind of that functionality will work. You can now re-snap, and they've added photo editing, and they have an online mode, but they are requiring an online subscription for players to be able to access it. Those are kind of the main things that have come out today.
I can't remember where you are. Are you getting Snap? Are you on the Snap train, or is it passed you by?
I'm not necessarily a Pokemon Snap kind of guy. Like if I'm my extent of taking photos of Pokemon will be in Pokemon Go, just on the streets. So
yeah. Okay, there you go. Kirklin, what about you?
Yeah, I will only have some sort of interest in this if Shay has interest in this, because I'm assuming that she'll probably get this on her radar and then want to get it, and then it'll be in my home, and then I'll be forced to interact with it in some shape or form. It's kind of, I don't know, I find it kind of weird that you have to like pay an additional thing just to, play online with friends or whatever, and then
you say that, but don't you have to also for Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus?
I mean, fair, but I also get more than just Pokemon out of that. Like PlayStation Plus, I get like free games every month and all these added bonuses. But I don't know. I guess if you're really into Pokemon and you have incentives for that, then
I mean, can you play like Splatoon and stuff without the live subscription online?
I'm not sure. I don't have Splatoon.
I'm just wondering because I'm sure that's not the only game that requires an online subscription.
Oh, are you saying that like all you need for it is just the Nintendo Online to play?
Yeah, like you have to have part of their
I took it as like you have to pay an additional thing for the Pokemon one, so I thought that was a little weird, but no, that makes sense now. So yeah, sorry, miscommunication there. But
also, I mean, it's probably not a great chance it'll be in your house right away if it's not on Shay's radar yet and it comes out in a month.
Yeah, she's waiting for that Harvest Moon.
Good choice.
Yeah, that's been on our radar for years.
Well, that was, I guess, the end of that Pokemon conversation. You guys are really great to bounce stuff off of. Thanks.
if you're gonna bounce things off me, you're bouncing just like a flat tire. You're just throwing it at me, and then I'm gonna hurt. I asked Taylor and Kirkland. I set up the call. I'm like, hey, you guys gonna play? I will like. I don't know the next time I'd play a Pokemon game. I thought the first time I would play one is when it came to Switch, and then I was like, yeah, you know what? Nah, I don't need to. I might still at some point. But yeah, no, it's not. And even Emily didn't buy it. She wasn't that hyped. She got Paper Mario instead. So I was like, okay, cool.
What if I like bring
my kids
Pokemon...
don't know about it is great.
What if I bring Pokemon Snap to like Gauntlet and we do whoever gets a higher score on one single run? Like, would you play it for that?
Yeah, we'll wait till Dylan comes back, and then you and Dylan can play it up, and I'd love to commentary it. That's how we can do it. And then Dylan can lose and be like, "Oh shucks," and then perfect.
You won't even play it.
I'll play, but not in a Gauntlet ranked match. Are you kidding me? I'm like,
he's willing to do Pokemon in a Gauntlet match, but not Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, no. Especially you're gonna own it. No way, no. I gotta defend that title when the COVID goes away. I'm not putting it up in the fucking Pokemon Snap. Yeah, I'll play Pokemon Snap, and then you play WWE with me, and let's go see how that happens.
I'm still gonna get it put in that random, so you won't have a say about. Oh, you pick Snap. I get to pick this.
That's fine, but we won't be having any title match. Remember our last title match, Jessica? It didn't go well for you. You didn't win any games. You're kind of a little lower down the rankings now. If you work your way back up, kid, you'll get there. So hopefully that happens. Taylor, what is your news?
My news. So yeah, this is interesting because remember, folks, this is the last month to enjoy all this Mario stuff.
What
for the Mario
is this
anniversary.
Death of Mario?
That's the trend. No, that's the trend going around. I kid you not. So we're basically like we're losing a whole bunch of this Mario stuff, like the Mario Battle Royale, and we're losing Mario Makers Online for like the Wii U, and then they're pulling off the shelves, obviously Mario 3D All Stars and everything. So again, like it's a lot of Mario stuff coming to an end, which is why it's been trending Death of Mario. So again, I just want to remind people again that if you do plan on getting Mario 3D All Stars, this is the last time you can get it before like the end of the month, March 31st. The digital codes that you buy and own, they still are able to be redeemed after the fact, but you can't go onto the eStore and actually try and purchase it because it will not be available. Yeah, no more updates, I believe, or anything like that. So that's done. What's done is done.
Wait, the game that you have, they're just gonna not be selling it at all?
Yeah, it will not be available to sell anymore.
Even
That's so
digital?
weird.
Even digitally, they're pulling everything off the shelves, off the
0
online
cents.
store, and all that. It's again, that's
Nintendo's
Nintendo.
a fucking
Being
idiot.
weird.
Yeah, fuck Nintendo.
It's so weird.
It's like, leave it up there. What happens if somebody eventually is like, yeah, I'll buy it? It's like, what? Like, that's stupid, but all right.
You should have been there. That's what they'll be
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
when Nintendo's selling to fucking Disney.
Yeah. Here's Labo, though. You can buy that. Yeah, other than the 3D world stuff, like, to me, like, them, like, closing the servers on the Wii U Mario Maker, I'm not gonna throw it in the fucking Death of Mario category. They're ending a console that hasn't been around, didn't sell well. You know, it's just like, that's just something, like, you're gonna get a Mario game every fucking year. So it's like, there's no Death of Mario. A few things
That's
from
what they're
Mario are
trending.
stopping. Well, that's good. Trend away. Guess what? You be fucking wrong. Lots of things trend are not true. So there's no Death of Mario. Mario's still going to be around. Mario World's fucking opened up. It's going to be open up in Florida next few years. It's like, yeah, I'm not
It's not
worried
literally meaning Mario is coming to an end.
What?
It's just his anniversary and all the fun stuff.
Okay, that's not the way you put it up when we started this conversation, though. So luckily, I'm
Oh.
following the right circles.
Let's see if I can. Oh, that has to be a video file. Okay, I'm not going to share that. That's it for my news.
All right. Anybody have anything else to say before we end 381 here? 19 away from the big 400. Nope. We have nothing to say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. I'm not sure when After 9 is going to be. We're going to figure that out. I got to talk to everybody and figure out a date, but that'll be happening soon. But as usual, you can catch all 3 casts. Next week, we'll be doing Kong versus Godzilla, Cup Higher High Water. We will find a way for you, the Canadian people, and then Falcon Winter Soldier as usual. So maybe it'll be news here, maybe it'll be a retro. Who knows? But I promise you, it'll not be boring. And we'll see you in a bit.
Goodbye.
Farewell.
Bye bye.